I'm just going to be running through my own personal survival kit. Now, there are plenty of them out there, cheap all the way through to rather expensive, but there's just one thing I just want to say, is that there is no one size fits all when it comes to survival kits. Everyone's different, you have your own strengths and weaknesses with things, and obviously your kit's going to be stacked more towards your weaknesses than to your strengths. So we'll get into mine. So before I start, you can see that mine, the container itself it comes in is dual purpose. So this container that my kit is in is actually doubles as a container that I can boil water in. So 750ml billy, essentially. What you'll find that most survival kits will come in is something like this. Just a little cheap, nasty plastic container. And while these containers are good, they're really only good for storing things. So that's why when I make my own personal kit, I always put it in something that I can use, whether it's a Milo tin or something like that, something that I can boil water in. So we'll get into what's in it. So first things first, I have my little signal mirror, which, if I get that right, you can see the reflection of light. So that will be used to get the attention of, say, a pilot or someone who's rather far away. Very simple to use. I mean, you can use the sight glass in the middle, but not all of them have that. If you just got a standard mirror, what you do is you hold your hand out and you shine to the light, and you can see where it goes in between your fingers. So what you do is you line where you want the light to shine. So if there's a plane, you'd obviously line the plane up between your fingers there, and you just, in a random pattern, just shine it in their eyes, and that'll get someone's attention from a long way away. So very important thing to have. But same, I could use anything. I could use lid off that if I wanted to polish it up a bit more, but even that there will create quite a shine from a distance. So it's not a necessity, but it's just always handy to have. And of course it's on a lanyard, so because the idea of my survival kit is that it doesn't stay in the kit. If I get into a survival situation, I will empty my kit out into my pockets, because if I have everything in that one container and I lose that container or something happens to it, I'm going to be in a lot of trouble. So if I find myself where I do need to break open my kit, I'll take out the contents, I'll empty it into pockets, and so that way I then become my own survival kit, because I'm carrying everything. Alright, so moving on. Cotton balls. Just standard cotton balls. Now, cotton balls have a couple of uses in here. In one of my previous videos, I've used them as part of a makeshift filter, water filter. But the reason they're in here is because they are fantastic tinder for lighting fires. They will take a spark from a ferro rod very easy. So I've always got some cotton balls on there. A spare compass. Now I've usually got a far better compass on me, but yeah, my survival kit's just got a little base plate compass in there, just in case. One fishing kit. So that fishing kit, now I've got braid in there, not monofilament, but that's about 15 meters of braid. Alright, so that's on a little plastic makeshift spindle I've made. Five hooks. One soft plastic to get me started in case I can't find anything to use as bait. At least I have something. And then there's just a couple of sinkers and a couple of swivels in there. So that there is just a basic fishing kit. As I said, everyone's survival kit is unique to themselves. Now the reason I put braid in there is because I can use braid for various other things as well with a bit more success than monofilament, just because it has that extra breaking strain. Never mind my son in the background there.
Alright.
Okay. Alright, so this right here is a Mylar survival bivvy. I'm not going to open it right up. So essentially, you know the Mylar, well, space blankets as everyone calls them, that you get in first aid kits? This is one of them, but it is a human-sized bag. So it's made out of a non-tearable one, so I mean it will tear if I put it under pressure, but it is quite stronger than your standard sort of Mylar blanket. Now, but this one's sort of like a sleeping bag. Now, these are fantastic because with the shiny part on the inside, the mirrored part, once you get in that, that's going to reflect all that heat back at you, so you don't lose any of your heat. And I've got a nice bright orange colour, purely just because it can be seen. I honestly don't understand the purpose of people who've got the camouflage ones, because if you're in a survival situation and you want to be found, you want to have bright colours. So that's why I've got the orange survival bivvy and not one of the camouflage or green ones. Alright, moving on. That there is just a roll of Ziploc bags. So they're the large sort. There's about 4 or 5 bags in there with a couple of lacquer bands, purely just for waterproofing, or you can use them carrying water or various other bits and pieces. Plastic bags have 1,000,001 uses, so I've always got a few of them. This here is a wire saw. So if you haven't seen one of these, essentially what it is, once I unravel it, so that there is a wire saw. So it's got some eyelets on the end so you can put your fingers in. You run that around a log or a branch or something you want to cut, and then you just pull it back and forward, and that will cut through a log, a decent sized one, pretty easily. They are very effective. They can snap if you just buy the cheapest ones you can find. I don't recommend using them on a regular basis. I have one in here, but I've usually got a knife, and I also usually carry an axe and stuff on me as well when I'm out. But I have one of these in my survival kit, purely just to cut things that are too big for me to cut with my knife or something like that. And also it will save my blade. It'll save the blade edge if I can cut the bigger branches with that, as opposed to my knife. Okay, so I have here 5 meters of paracord. Now, in one of my previous videos that I've done where I made the survival shelter, you'll notice this is the same paracord that I had in that. Now, this paracord is a 7-strand paracord, so if I was to desheath this cord, which I'm not going to because this was the one out of my survival kit, I actually do have some sitting next to me, which I'll show you what makes paracord so special and such a fantastic resource. Let me just grab some. Alright, so I have the rest of the spool here. I'm just going to have to cut off an end of that, so give me 2 seconds. Okay, so this paracord that I use is a 7-strand. You can get 5-strand, you can get 7-strand, you can get some that actually have a length of fishing line and a length of juke for firelighting in there as well. But this is what I carry, so this is a 7-strand. So if I desheath that, I've got 7 individual lines that I can use from anything from fishing to tying things up, because that single strand is actually quite strong. Not to mention you can also use the sheath as cordage as well. So essentially you times the length of that by 8, and it makes it go a lot further, which is why I've got 5 meters in here, so it's just tightly packed in there, so I'm not going to pull it out. Standard torch. Now this torch has got a battery in it, but I have got a little plastic divider in there between the battery and the spring, purely because the last thing I want is, if I ever need this torch, is to try and turn it on and the battery's gone bad. So I do put a little divider in between the battery and the spring. So torches are standard. Okay. That's usually what I carry on me, or something very similar. But in my survival kit, I do carry just a standard little pocket knife. Very standard, just knife, can opener, bottle opener, corkscrew, and a couple of screwdrivers. Don't really want to use it. It's not a very good knife, but in a survival situation I will use that for anything that I don't want to use that for, just purely to save that edge. Okay. One pack of matches. So there's a few things in here. So as you can see, I've got that for fire lighting before. One pack of matches. Self-explanatory. One ferro rod with magnesium block. So basically the idea of the ferro rod is, if you've never seen a ferro rod before, they are very easy. So basically you got your striker and you've got your rod. This one's brand new, so it's still got the coating on it. Simple like that. That'll throw a spark. Now this block on the other side is a block of solid magnesium. So what you do with that is you just shave some off, mix that in, so have a pile of that with your tinder, and then, well, I'm not going to do that because I'm not going to light a fire on a glass table, and bang, throw a spark into that, that'll light up. So as you can see, I've got more fire lighting things in my survival kit than I do everything else, purely because lighting a fire in the bush there is one of the most difficult things to do, especially if it's the wet time of the year, because everything is going to be wet. And that's another reason why everything in my kit is in plastic bags as well, just for waterproofing. Yeah, that's where I got these from too, Brendan. I got these ones from eBay. They are fantastic. I would have preferred them to be a little bit thinner, purely just for space saving. But yeah, they're a fantastic mirror. So yeah, eBay is a fantastic resource to get things like this from. Alright. One condom. Now, I have that in there for a few different reasons. Now, again, this can be used for waterproofing. Now, this is an unlubricated one, purely because I can also use it to carry water. Now, I would not carry water in it without something covering it. So I would have to reinforce that, like maybe wrap it up in my shemagh that I got hanging there or something. That'll just give it a bit of rigidity. And that'll carry water. That'll carry a few litres of water quite easily. Yep. If I have some dry tinder and I know that it's going to be raining, I can whack that in there and tie it up, and that's going to keep that dry as anything. So it doesn't matter how wet I get, my fire lighting materials are going to be dry. So that's why that's in there too. Same as the bags. So very similar things, just another way around it. Now, I put a couple of tablets in there, a few headache pills, so that's just basically some ibuprofen. Just because I do sometimes suffer from headaches, and especially if I'm starting to get a bit dehydrated, I'll get some headaches behind my eyes. So I've always got some of them in there as well, just to help me think a little bit clearer. And lastly, a whistle. So these whistles are very loud. Now the reason we have a whistle in there is, now I've been a search and rescue operator for about 19 years now, so nearly 20 years, and when we go on searches and everything for missing people, we quite often will get a female to call out to the missing person, call out their name and everything, because the higher pitched voices travel a lot further than a lower pitched voice. So if you've got a whistle that is quite a high pitch and quite loud, that's going to cut through every other bit of noise, especially if you're out in the bush and there's a bit of wind. Not many people are going to hear you yell. If there's water, no chance, but a whistle will cut through all of that noise and increase your chances of being found exponentially. So these whistles are fantastic, and they are dirt cheap, and this whistle is solid aluminium, so it's not going to break if I step on it or drop it. So that there is my personal survival kit. So this is the one that I carry every time I go out. This isn't a store-bought one. This is one that I've made for myself, knowing my strengths and my weaknesses when I'm out there. So there's more firelighting things in here than anything else. Now, one thing a lot of people will notice is there is no first aid kit in my survival kit. Now, there is a very good reason for that. If I made a first aid kit small enough to fit in here with all that, it is purely just going to be a couple of band-aids and something small like that. It is not going to be efficient or adequate enough to treat any sort of injury apart from a slight small laceration or a graze. Now, another reason I don't have it in there is because I believe that a first aid kit should be a standalone item. So if you've seen in my videos, I have got a fairly substantial first aid kit attached to my backpack. So that's always on me. And if I don't have that one, if I don't have my backpack on me, I've got another one in my car. So this is the one out of my car. Again, this one also is quite substantial too. Nowhere near as substantial as that, but this one is quite a good one as well. I actually bought this one to do my segment of cheap survival crap I bought from Wish, and I was actually really surprised of what came in here for what I paid for it. It was like 35 bucks, and there's like 405 pieces in here. And yeah, so I actually got really surprised. So this one won't be making it on the cheap survival crap I bought from Wish, because I'm actually quite happy with what I bought. It was actually supposed to be a survival kit, but I got a first aid kit instead. So I'm not going to complain about that. Now, as I've said before, a survival kit will be as personal as the person who's carrying it. So if you want to put a first aid kit in there, you can buy the little ones in plastic containers from Kmart. They're under 10 bucks, I think. Now you can put whatever you want in your kit. So I've got, as I said, so for those who weren't here in the start, that's the container for my survival kit. It is actually a 750ml billy. The reason I have that is because my survival kit immediately will be emptied into my pockets if I ever need it, because if I lose my whole kit, then I'm absolutely screwed. My original survival kit came in this box, and I've added to it, taken things out, added things in, as I've learnt along the way. So that is my kit. That is what I carry. What you carry is completely up to you. You might be absolutely fantastic at lighting fires, and you don't need 2 or 3 different ways to light a fire in there. That's fine. It's your kit. Now, I do have another kit. It's not here. This other kit is in my car, and it's what's called a group kit. So it's made in a bigger container than this. So this is a personal kit. So this one's just for me. I would not share this kit with anyone else. There is another kit which is a group kit, which has got some freeze-dried food, some other utensils and bits and pieces in there as well. But that is a story for another video. So thanks for listening, guys. So that is my kit. If you have any questions at all, feel free, send us a message, and I'm more than happy to pass on my experience and knowledge to anyone who seeks it. And yeah, so thanks for watching, and I will see you all next time.